When I'm not searching for somebody, anybody to offer me unsolicited political discourse opinions online, I like to answer questions and comments I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. I don't know how to play over this one. Didn't really help, and it gets really frustrating because everything I play over sounds like hot garbage. All right, we're talking about playing over guitar progressions. I just kind of want to do a little refresher because it's always good to talk about just doing lead stuff. As someone who was very lead playing averse for most of my guitar playing career, I'm like really a singer-songwriter kind of at heart. Learning solos and stuff definitely did not interest me when I was learning to play guitar, but then having a guitar channel, I kind of got into it more, so I'm going to talk about some stuff that I learned. So first of all, we're going to do chord progression. We'll do something in the key of C, but it'll be a little spicy because after all, it's me doing it. So it's going to be C major 7, A minor, F major 7, which is basically just C, A minor, F, but with, the 7th chord added. So I'm going to loop this progression. And then now we can play stuff over it, right? And there's different ideas here. Maybe something like... something as simple as that. Or we could do something like... something like that, like a lick. So I want to kind of talk about the difference between doing a chord-based approach versus a lick-based approach versus an arpeggio-based approach. So we'll talk a little bit about each one of these and how maybe we can combine these, or maybe you can settle on one that you like. This video is sponsored by Sweetwater, and specifically the OnStage Guitar Workstation. Right now I'm playing the Ernie Ball St. Vincent through my Vox AC15. I finally got that Vox out for the first time, only because of this workstation, and I'm so glad that I did. This thing is really cool. You can actually, it cleans up the room a lot, and trust me, this room is so cluttered all the time. Basically, the amp sits in there. It's easy access to get cables into and out of the amp. The guitar stand is built into it. You have little handles to put your cables and stuff, and the bottom of it comes out, and you can store a pedal board in there, which is where I have my looper pedals. So this has actually made my life a lot easier just having this in here. Thank you to Sweetwater and OnStage for sponsoring the video. Affiliate link will be in the description, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the chord triads to play along with, all right? Now I said the chord progression was C, A minor, F. Okay, now the way I'm playing it, I'm choosing to play a C major 7, which is 3 on the E string, 5 on the D string, 4 on the G string, 5 on the B string. I like going to A minor 11 from there just because I can kind of pivot off of my ring finger, and then now my middle finger is on 5A, ring and pinky on 5D and G, pointer finger on 3B. And then I slide that down, I keep my pinky on there to go 8A, 7D, 9G, right? So this is my chord progression. But at its core, the triad version, the 3-note chord version of this is just C major, A minor, F, C, okay? So let's start doing chord tones, learning the triad first. C major is really easy because it's just the 5th fret, D string, B string, G string. A minor is just as easy because it's just down a string. 5th fret, G, B, and E. So I could just go back and forth. Now the thing about using triads, I think, is to play them out of order, right? If you just play them in order, there's nothing interesting about that, just playing C, A minor, F. But it's kind of funny how it becomes way more interesting just playing them out of order. And again, I was doing the same thing, but just like playing them slightly out of order, adding vibrato, pausing, letting the notes breathe. That was like literally nothing. That was the simplest nothing that I could do, but it counts as being an accompaniment to whatever you're doing. Again, I'm not trying to impress anybody with this, obviously, but that does not sound like hot garbage. You gotta give me that. It sounds better than hot garbage. Simple, not hot garbage. Maybe just like a cold room temperature garbage, all right? Now, it was really helpful to learn these all over the neck. So again, here's the one, that easy C major. We can run that from there. to there. So let's at least have 2 places to go, right? Here's the 1 major, there's the next major. A minor, like I said, is really easy. Here, just on top, and then let's actually go to, let's go up here, which is really just that A minor chord across the octave. So now it's 14, 14, 13, D, G, and B. And then F major, let's do the same one right here. There's F major, and then the other F major is gonna be right here. Okay, so 10, 10, 10, and then 14, 13, 13. Okay, so it's essentially the same chord voicings, just in different spots. And now you can really just take your time, do it very slowly, and explore them. It doesn't even matter which chord tones go over which chords as far as exploring. Eventually you want to be able to nail it, but we can just do it like this. C, A, F, okay, so again, now, this doesn't sound like lead playing, but what you're doing is you're training some kind of rhythmic principles into your playing using simple chords. And then eventually you can start combining them with the chords as they change. The next thing, which I think is actually probably like the best sounding if you're doing lead thing, is doing something with licks, okay? And that's where learning the relative minor of a key really comes in handy. So in the key of C, the relative minor is A. I know that you probably already know this shape right here. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. So A minor pentatonic. The beautiful thing about the pentatonic scale is you can use it over any minor chord in a key. We only have 1 minor chord that is in this progression, even though there are other minor chords that exist in this key. But now I'm just gonna play stock licks from this shape over that progression. And you can tell it's like, all right, there's a little bit more going on. It sounds a little smoother because this scale and this shape on a guitar is built to be played over those chords, right? Or really any chords. So we can kind of combine these. And even if you've noticed, those first chord tones we used, that C major to A minor, that's really just the left half of this minor pentatonic, right? So the beautiful thing about minor pentatonic shapes, or major pentatonic, however you kind of choose to play it, is really these chord tones are built into it for the most part. Now, the reason I chose an F major chord in this progression is because F is not a note in the minor pentatonic scale. In A minor pentatonic goes A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, right? So let's try to find an F and then locate it and add it to the minor pentatonic scale. The one I want to use is just the 6th fret on the B string. So what we're doing is, instead of thinking of the whole minor Aeolian scale, we're taking the minor pentatonic scale and adding 1 note. I hope that makes sense. I just want to add the F in there, so now you'll know I'm gonna accentuate when I play this note. You can kind of see how, like, there's a lot of utility in having that note in there, right? It's like, it's my favorite chord in the key. That's why, to me, it's kind of funny that, like, why would you not have the 4 chord in the key? But that is the strength and weakness of minor pentatonic kind of explained in layman's terms, right? The next thing I want to do, last thing I want to do just for this example, is use an arpeggio run. The beautiful thing about arpeggios is they kind of count as licks that you can throw in wherever. Like, that C major one right there is one I use all the time. So 3, 5, 7 on the A string, 5, 5, D, G. And then you can repeat this, right? Like that. So if we do that in order, 3, 5, 7, A, 5, D, 5, G, 7, G, 9, G. And then when we think of it into 9, think of that triad that we did right there. In fact, let me just erase this loop real quick, and I'm just gonna put a C major 7 loop. right? I'm just climbing that scale. And all of these are chord tones in the chord, so it's like that chord thing we talked about earlier, but so as you can kind of see, I was combining that. Start out with just this arpeggio that you can kind of run anytime you see a C major chord, C major 7 chord, C major 9 chord, C whatever. Run that arpeggio, and if you practice that, it kind of gets pretty fast and it sounds smooth, right? It's like a really easy thing that you could conceptually understand, even if it's not so easy to kind of get your fingers to cooperate at first. It's something that you can really kind of see in your mind's eye. And then you do the same thing with like the other chords, A minor, 5 on the E string, there's the A, 5, 3, 5, 7, 5, A minor, 7 arpeggio, which is really just the minor pentatonic scale. Eventually you start to take these three things, chord voicings, scales, and arpeggios, and they come together, and then your playing sounds a little less like hot garbage and mild garbage, which is the point of this lesson. Just a little bit cooler temperature of garbage, and then you're good to go. Came here for a straightforward exercise. I got energy vampired. You know, this isn't so much of a salty blues comment as I just think it's kind of funny. Thinking of a YouTube video energy vampiring you is wild to me. Usually YouTube is like where I kind of go to unwind, get a little bit of a vibe back, trying to cultivate a vibe of spreading the energy. So if my videos are energy vampiring you, trust me, I feel the same way making these videos. I'm energy vampiring myself. So the fact that that feeling can really be shared across the internet is really what gives me hope for the future. So thanks for watching. Do you have another mic for your guitar, or was it DI? So this is on a video I posted yesterday of me and Claire performing outside. I had this little interface, and yeah, I am super happy with how that turned out. That's the DI sound on the guitar, and then the microphone on her voice just outside, and I think it sounds phenomenal. In fact, I've been like really getting into a lot of just getting an acoustic DI to sound good. I also did a video on an audio sprockets pedal that is really cool. Check that out. I'll link that in the description too if you guys are interested, because what it does is you record your acoustic guitar mic'd up properly, and then you play your piezo, and then it takes the difference and comes up with like a modeler to turn the piezo sound just with a wavetable into the mic'd up sound, and that thing blows my mind. Like that's like some weird science stuff that like is kind of crazy that we're here. So check that video out, because I've actually been really happy with the sound quality just from the last 2 videos that I posted this week. So yeah, thank you for asking, and thank you for watching. 7 strings, very interesting idea. So this was from the video I did with the new Martin Johnny Marr signature guitar. They have an edition that comes with 7 strings on an acoustic guitar, and it's pretty funny. At first I was like, this is like a total gimmick, and then I actually recorded some of the audio, and it's kind of wild how having a double G string, basically what it is, it's like the G string is just an octave higher, so there's like a thinner one right next to it. So you get kind of like the chime of a 12 string without the headache of a 12 string. The only downside is like you kind of need to have extra strings around to kind of do that. Just restringing guitars in general is already hard enough in my mind, in my simpleton mind, even though you can do it much easier with that on-stage guitar workstation. That even just adding one is a chore in my head, but much preferred to adding an extra 6 for a 12 string. So, you know, 12 strings are funny because I love the idea of 12 string guitars, but I just don't really play them that much. And a lot of it is just because in my head, there's this thing of like, I'm gonna have to like tune 12 strings or restring a 12 string guitar, which is so stupid and so lazy. But again, it's just it's a point of friction that I'm working on, which is why the 7 string acoustic guitar is actually an idea that I'm super into. So I might be picking one of those up, we'll see. For listening homework this week, I'm going to throw you to Brittany Howard. She is formerly in the band Alabama Shakes, which their album Sound and Color is an absolute masterpiece. And her solo stuff is, I think, super slept on. So I will link you to that. Check that out. Let me know what you think. Thank you again to Sweetwater and Onstage for sponsoring the video. Again, that thing really, the workstation has really cleaned up that area in a way that I can't really fully explain. But it looks great, and it's so much neater now. Thank you to them for sending that over. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.